Namaste and welcome to Tridevi Chamunda Mandir in Denver, Colorado. I'm Yamajit, and namaste and welcome to day 5 of Spring Navaratri. So, a couple of announcements before we begin. Just a reminder that our pujas for Saturday and Sunday will start at noon rather than 7 p.m. And then Monday and Tuesday will resume at 7 p.m. Tonight and tomorrow we'll also be doing 2 chapters in the Devi Gita. So this will be handled as 2 separate broadcasts like it was last night. So in addition to chapters 6 and 7, the Mahavidya goddess that we will honor this evening is Ma Bhairavi. And Bhairavi, who you notice looks very much like Ma Kali. She and her consort, Lord Bhairab, who is the wrathful form of Lord Shiva, they dwell upon the cremation grounds, and they'll teach their wisdom to anybody who's willing to set their fears aside. She's also known as Tripura Bhairavi, kind of similar to our third Mahavidya goddess, Tripura Sundari. And this refers to her as a goddess of the 3 worlds. And the 3 worlds can represent the powers of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Also the divine forces of will, knowledge, and action, known as Isha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. And also the 3 states of consciousness, which were mentioned in one of last night's chapters. So regular waking consciousness, sleep with dreams, and then very deep dreamless sleep. And so Ma Bhairavi rules over those 3 realms. Astrologically, she represents all aspects as well. And she also personifies the transformations that take place in us when we realize that divine presence, both not just without, but within as well. And so tonight, with our next 2 chapters, the Divine Mother is going to continue to share her knowledge with the Mountain King, Himalaya, and the other gods which are assembled. And both of these chapters tonight will deal very strongly with instruction in yoga. So, chapter 6, instruction in the yoga of knowledge, also known as Jnana Yoga. And the goddess spoke, "How distant you are, so humble from this form of mine, so magnificent. Yet out of affection for my devotees, I have displayed such a form. Not by study of the Veda, not by yoga, charity, austerity, or sacrifice. Can you see this form in any way without my favor? Listen, O King, let us return to the original subject of the Supreme Self and how it becomes the individual soul. By combining with apparent limitations, the self seemingly assumes the role of an active agent and so on. The soul performs diverse acts, the single cause of virtue and vice. Thereby it attains birth in various wombs and experiences both happiness and sorrow. Again, under their determining influence, ever intent on new actions of various sorts, it attains new bodies of various kinds and experiences further happiness and sorrow. Like the water wheel, the cycling never ceases. Ignorance alone is its root. from that springs desire from all actions. Therefore, a person should ever strive for the destruction of ignorance, for one's birth is fruitful when ignorance is destroyed. One thereby attains the ends of human existence and the state of being liberated while living. Wisdom alone is the competent for the destruction of ignorance. Action born of ignorance is incompetent to destroy ignorance, since the two are not opposed, O mountain. Rather, the hope that ignorance can be destroyed by action is futile. Unless our actions with their fruits, which humans crave again and again, from that arises passion, from that evil, and from that great calamity. Therefore, a person should acquire knowledge with all-out effort. Yet Scripture itself seems to enjoin the necessity of action, and when it mentions ever performing actions here, but Scripture also states, from knowledge indeed comes emancipation. Thus, some conclude that the two should be conjoined. Action should be a complement of knowledge as its benefactor. Others say that this is impossible due to their opposition. The knot of the heart is loosened through knowledge. When the knot is tight, action arises. Coexistence of the two together is thus impossible due to their opposition, just as darkness and light cannot appear simultaneously. Therefore, high-minded one, all Vedic actions reach their end when the heart is purified. Perform them then with diligence. Until tranquility, restraint, patience, dispassion, and goodness arise, up to this point actions are fitting, but no further. And then, renouncing worldly attachments, being self-restrained, one should resort to a guru, well versed in the Veda and absorbed in Brahman, approaching with true devotion. One should listen to the Upanishads daily and with attention, reflecting constantly on the meaning of such great sayings as, "You are that." The great saying, "You are that," indicates oneness of the soul and Brahman. When the identity is realized, one goes beyond fear and assumes my essential nature. First, one should comprehend the meaning of the individual words, then the meaning of the sentence as a whole. Now the word that refers to I myself, O mountain, this is well proclaimed. While the word you refers certainly to the individual soul, the identity of the two is indicated by the word are, so say the wise. Due to the opposed nature of the two expressed references, then identity may not seem possible. Thus, one must adopt the secondary meaning of the terms that and you are fixed in Scripture. Just pure consciousness is the secondary meaning implied by both terms. Their essential oneness is thereby established. Realizing their oneness by disregarding their non-essential differences, one transcends duality. In the same manner, the sentence, "This is that Devadatta," uses the secondary meanings, so it is taught. When freed from the three bodies, beginning with the gross, a person becomes absorbed in Brahman. The gross body arises from the fivefold compounded gross elements. It experiences the fruit of all action and is subject to old age and disease. In truth, it is false, yet it appears real, being full of Maya. This is the gross limiting condition of my own self, O Mountain King. The union of the organs of knowledge and action, jnana and kriya, conjoined with the 5 breaths and fused with the mind and intellect, produces the subtle body. This is the wise discern. Arising from uncompounded elements, the subtle body of the self, it is my second limiting condition, experiencing both pleasure and pain. Without beginning, an undefinable ignorance is the third limiting condition. It is that body of the self which appears as causal in nature, O Mountain Lord. When these limiting conditions are dissolved, the self alone remains. The 5 sheaths ever reside within the 3 bodies. When the 5 sheaths are discarded, one attains the root that is Brahman, described by such sayings as not this, not that, indicating my own essential form. The self is never born, nor does it die. It did not come into existence, for nothing real comes into existence from nothing. It is unborn, eternal, everlasting, ancient. It is not slain when the body is slain. If the slayer believes I slay, if the slain believes I am slain, then neither understands that the self does not slay, nor can it be slain. So this is reflecting a lot of the ideas from that we also read in the Bhagavad Gita. Smaller than an atom, greater than the greatest, is the self dwelling in the heart of each being. One who is free of desires, who is beyond sorrow, sees that self and its greatness through the grace of the Creator. Know the self is the owner of a chariot, and the body is a chariot. Know the intellect as the driver, and the mind as the reins. The senses are the horses, they say, the objects of the sense, their fields of forage. The self united with the senses and mind is the enjoyer, so say the wise. Whomever, on the other hand, lacks knowledge, becomes mindless and ever impure. That person does not attain the highest goal, but continues in the cycle of samsara. Whoever, on the other hand, has understanding becomes mindful and ever pure. That person attains the highest goal, from which there is no return. That person who uses understanding as a driver and who controls the reins of the mind arrives at the end of the journey, which is my own supreme state. Thus, through hearing about, reflecting upon, and ascertaining the self by the self, one should also, through intense meditation, realize that I am the essence of the self. Before attaining the final absorption, one should contemplate within oneself the triad of letters, known as the sacred syllable of the goddess, for the sake of meditating on the 2 meanings of the mantra. The H is the gross body. The R is the subtle body. The letter I is the causal body. And the whole sound, Hrim, is I myself as the transcendent fourth. In this manner, recognizing sequentially the triadic elements of the seed mantra contained within the comprehensive whole, the wise person should reflect on the identity of the whole and the parts. Prior to the moment of total absorption, while concentrating earnestly in the above manner, with the eyes closed, one should then meditate upon me, the goddess, the ruler of the universe. One should equalize the inhalations and exhalations flowing through the nose, being unaffected by sensual desires, without faults, free from jealousy. With sincere devotion, within the silent void of the heart, one should dissolve the all-pervading gross aspect of the self, that is the letter H, into the letter R. One should dissolve the luminous, subtle aspect of the spirit, that is the letter R, into the letter I. And one should dissolve the intelligent, causal aspect of the self, with the letter I into the sound Rim. That transcends the distinction of name and named beyond all dualities. It is whole, infinite being, consciousness, and bliss. One should meditate on that reality within the flaming light of consciousness. By this meditation, O King, the noble person will perceive me directly, and then merge into my own essence, since we too are one. By practicing this yoga, one realizes me as the Supreme Self. It is that insistent ignorance that its effects all perish. Jai Ma. Jai Ma. Jai Ma. So I invite you now to make yourself comfortable in the place that you've chosen, either seated on a mat or the floor with a cushion under the hips, or if it would be more comfortable, a chair. I invite you now to close your eyes and begin to inhale slowly and deeply, breathing in, and then a breath of equal length outwards. Breathing out the tensions, the cares of the day. Breathing out the thoughts of the future and the past. Just letting those things go so that with each inhalation, a sense of being in the present is given. And also a sense of the divine presence within. And then while focusing on your heart center, thinking about that part of your life that is now ready for healing or transformation, and asking the Divine Mother for her help in its resolution. and acknowledging that taking part in these practices is a major step in that resolution. And so bringing the palms of your hands together at heart center, let's open our practice tonight by chanting that syllable of wholeness, that syllable of the Divine Mother, Hrim, 3 times. Inhale. Pavitra Pavitrova Sarvabhistam Gatopiva Yashmade Pandarikaksham Sabhyabhyanta Sushi. Om Gam Ganapataye Namo Namah. Jai Ganesha. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namah. Jai Guru. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Kailase Patana Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Trapura Devi Vidmae Gameshvari Chadimai Tano Bharaivi Prachodayat Jima Bhairavi. Om Hrim Namah. 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 Jai Ma. So I invite you now to again make yourself comfortable and close close your eyes, breathing deeply, and just listening to the words of our mantras and of the chanting of our scriptural chapter. And just let the energies of that chanting guide your consciousness to where it needs to go at this moment. Esraim eshklarim esrao. 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 Om Namah Chandakaya. Om Namah Chandakaya. Om Namah Chandakaya Namah. Devi Ovacha. Kvayuyam Mandabaga. Bhagvedam Rupam Mahadbhutam. Tatape Bhakta Vatsalya Didrusham. Dasitam Maya. Naveda Dhyaner Yogena Dayastapa Sejaya Rupam Drastumidyam Shaktyam Gevalam Matrupam Vinya Prakrutam Stunu Rajendra Paramatmatra Jivatam Apadiyogat Samprapta Karut Vadika Mapyuta Kriya Karot Vividya Dharma Dharmaka Hetyava Nanayone Stata Prapya Shuka Dukaya Yujate Punastat Samskrute Vasanana Kamata Sada Nana Deyan Sapapnote Shuka Dukascha Yuyate Gati Antravade Tasya Na Virama Kadapi Agnanameva Mulam Satata Kama Kriya Stata Tasmadat Jnana Yatina Niyatam Nara Etadiyan Masafalam Yada Kanasya Nasyam Purusata Sama Tischa Jivan Mukta Jasapicha Ajnana Nasine Shaktividya Vetu Prapti Ase Na Karmata Jam No Pastir Viroda Bhavato Giri Pratyuta Sagnana Nasye Kamana Naiva Bhavyatam Anartadani Karmani Punarusantihi Tato Ragas Tato Devsya Stato Nato Marhan Bhavet Tasmat Sarve Pranatnena Jnanam Sampradayanara Kurvanevaha Karmati Yata Karma Paivasyakam Jnanadeva Hichai Valyamata Syat Tad Samuchaya Sahayatam Vajit Kama Na Nasya Hitakaricha iti kachid vadantyatra tatvirodanya sambhavet nanadarud granti beta syadrud grantau karma sambhava yoga padyam na sambhavam viroda tutas tastoyo tama praksa yodadvad yogad padyam na sambhave tasmat svarbani ma karmani vaidikani matamate chitta sudayantameva sustane koyat prayatnata sams dastitikshacha varya gyan sattva sambhava tavat parantameva sukamanena tata param tadanite chava samyasya samsrad gurumatmavan srutiyam brahmanistam chabhaktya sonuvdya jaya puna vedanta sravayam koryanitye meva matandrita tarva masyade vakyasa nitya martam vicharajat tatvamasyadi bhaktyam tujiva brahmaita bodhakam akyena te nurbayantu madrupahe pajate padartavagati purvam vaktyata yagati stata tatpadasya cha vakyarto griham parikyetita tvam bhastya chavadikyarto jiva evanam samsaya orbayokaya yama sina pradena prochayati bodhaya vacharta yo virud hatva dakyam navagatetaha laksanata prakatavya tatvamo sruti samstayo shinmatram totayo lakshyam teyor aikasha sambhava tayor ekyam tatanatva sabedena dvayo bhavat Devi tatasa evamayamti balaksham sumruta stula dedi harahito brahma sampatayati nara panchikruta mahabhuta sambhuta stula dehakya Bhargalaya javyate samyuta sarva kamanam mitya bhuto yamabhati saputam maya maya tvata soyam stula upadi syatadmano nenagasvara jnana karmendriya yutam Prana panchakra samyutam manobodhi yutam chatyuks mam tatkavayo vuda apanchikruta bhutotam shuksma deyo yamatmana dvitiyo yamupadi satshukade rava bodhika Anadyanavasanmida machanam tutruti yaka deyoyamatmano bhati karanatmane gresvara upadhi ivilaheyate kameva latmavesisyate deyatrai panchakrusa antastita santi sarvada Panchakosha Paridyage Brahmya Pucham Hi Labhayate Neti Neti Trait Patkya Mama Rupam Yaduchayate Najayate Miryate Tatka Chadsinayam Bhutana Babuva Kaschit Ajo Nitya Sasvatoyam Paroha Hanyate Hanya Manesae Atam Chenmadyate Hantum Hatyasyen Mayate Hatam Obhotao Navijanato Nayam Hanti Nahanyate Anoraniyan Mahato Mihiyanat Masya Jantur Nihitoguyam Tamakrata Pasyate Vitasoko Dano Pradan Mahimana Masya Atmanam Ratanam Vidi Saram Ratamevatu Buddhim Tum Saratim Vidi Mana Praghamevacha Indriyani Hanathur Visyam Stestogo Karam Atmandraya Manoyuktam Bhoktayet Kurmani Sina Yastva Vidyan Bhavet Charman Askasha Sadi Chusi Datad Padam Avatnote Samsaram Chadahiga Chati Vastu Vignanavan Bhavati Samanaksada Sushi Satu Tatpadamapnote Yasma Diyo Najayate Rignana Sarvatir Yastu Mana Pragrahavanara Sodavam Pramapnote Madhyam Yatparam Padam Itiham Surya Chamatya Chas Nischitya Manamatmana Bhavayan Mamata Atmarupam Nadidya Sanapnoticha Yoga Vrite Purasasmin Bhavaye Daksaratrayam Devi Prana Vasyanasya Dayaneta Mantra Vachayo Hakarastula Tena Siatrakara Shukmate Haka Itara Karanat Masao Rinkaro Cham Tori Yakam Eva Samsti Dehetpi Neva Bijatrayam Kramat Samaste Vyastyor Katvam Bhavayan Matrimanara Samadikalat Purvam Tubavan Yityaiva Madruta Tatodayanye Nilinasko Devamam Jagadisaram Pranapanosamo Krutva Nasyabhyantarachana Nivruta Visayak Kangsal Vita Dosho Vimatsara Vaksha Nivya Jaya Yukto Gohayam Nisvanestia Hakram Vivamatmanam Rakare Pravira Payat Rakaram Tajatsam Deva Mikare Pravila Payat Ikaram Pragnamatmanam Rinkare Pravila Payat Vacha Vachai Tainam Davaita Bhava Virajitam Anartam Sachidanam Dam Bhavayata Chikhantare Itidyanena Mamrajan Shaksat Kuratya Narotama Madhupa eva bhavati vyo arai katajata yoga yuktya nasya drustva mahatmanam paryat paramangastana sakarvastya takshane nakshako bhave. Esraim eshklarim esra, 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 Esraim eshklarim esra. Allowing yourself now to meditate in a place of stillness and silence. Feeling the energies of the chants. Feeling the presence of the Divine Mother and her guidance and her healing and her protection. Just resting in the energies. Jema, Jema. Take a deep and clearing breath and becoming aware again of your surroundings. The sound of my voice and the bell, whatever sounds are in your environment. The feeling of your body sitting upon the floor or the chair. Slowly moving your fingers and your toes, your hands and feet, arms and legs. Slowly bringing the palms of your hands together, thanking the Divine Mother for her presence in your life. And then, with your eyes closed, listening to the benedictions. Om Sava Mangala Mangalye Shiva Savada Sadike Saranye Triambake Devi Naryane Namostute. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sana Bhavatu, Sana Bhunaktu, Saviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvidyavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Slowly opening your eyes. Namaste. Jai Mata Di. Om Tat Sat Om. Jai Ganesha. Jai Guru. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Ma Bhairavi. Jai Mata Di. Jai Mata Di. Jai Mata Di. Thank you. So this would be a good time for a break between broadcasts. I'll be signing off on this particular one, and I'll be signing back on at 8 p.m. So in about, looks like 14 minutes. And we'll continue with the next chapter of the Devi Gita. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in a few minutes. Blessings always. Jai Ma. See you soon.